Sunday. Thanks for waiting for me. I'm just a minute late, but always on time for the most part. Looks like they are telling everyone that I have started a live video. I do this every Saturday and Sunday. Saturday at 9 a.m. Central, Sunday at 10 a.m. Central. So if you are in the Central time, where are you guys listening from? Good morning, Mary and Diane. It is good to see you. We are live on YouTube and Instagram. So if you are a YouTuber, please like and subscribe. If you are an Instagrammer, in fact, if you're both, just go over there to each platform and like and subscribe. It does help. It helps what they say, the algorithm, and liking and subscribing does make a difference. So yesterday, I wrote down some things after yesterday's talk. And I don't know, you want to call it a session, the live stream. Yesterday, we spoke about questions that were asked. One, how do you feel about a vegan diet? So we spoke on that. We spoke on how I feel about dairy. We also spoke about carnivores, maybe adding back more carbohydrates and why. Okay. And we spoke about, I got my notes here, but that took up the meat of our conversation yesterday, is talking about the different types of diets and whether you're a carnivore, if you're a carnivore, adding in dairy, and how does that change things up? Do we need fiber? Do we need probiotics? Do we need to take supplements? There's a lot of questions, and sometimes there's not a lot of answers. And so after I get done with my talks, I want you to know that many of you message me. You'll message me because you want to maybe add to or ask another question to keep the conversation going. And that is fine. I don't mind. But a lot of times it is it is overwhelming because you guys do have a lot of questions. So please don't take it personally if I do not answer your questions. But something came up, and I'm going to pause here before we get into today's routine. I want to pause. And yesterday, I spoke about my little mini dachshund. His name is Timber, and he hurt his back. And I have been doing some things for him, taking him to chiropractic. I put him on a short course of prednisone. I've been doing some carprofen. And I've been trying to get him to avoid things that exacerbate his situation, his back pain. And so one of the comments came up, and I don't know when it came up after the fact, I believe, or maybe I just noticed it after the fact, but it said, this person said, and by the way, most of you guys have been listening to me for a year or more, and we've become more like friends. I know I call my people listeners, but many of you are not just listeners. I want you to know, endearingly, I call you my center stagers. And many of my center stagers have become my friends. Yeah, it's hard. Chris, I am from Iowa. I am in the United States. Where are you from? So many of you guys have become my friends. I really enjoy bouncing things off of you, reading your stuff, and just talking in general. That may look like texting. It may look like Instagram message. It might look like video chats. So these are the fun things that have really inspired me to keep going. Now, that gets me to my idea. So here's my idea. And you guys might think it's the dumbest idea and it only benefits me. Well, maybe not. And here's my idea. So yesterday I was wearing a Michigan hoodie because I am a Michigan fan. And by the way, they won last night. Now, yesterday was kind of a rough day because my dad went to Michigan State. And when he and I watched Michigan State, we never, Mr. Palancona, thank you. Yeah, we never really went against each other. We cheered for both sides equally. And so that's what I did yesterday. My mom and I, we cheered for both sides equally yesterday. And that really works out. In fact, I got Michigan State stuff, and I got, Michigan hats and Michigan State hats and hoodies. Yeah, I wear them both. And so that gets me to my point, my idea. So yesterday someone said, and I know they were joking or trying to be funny and to lighten up the load, because I think they know me well enough to know that I'm really scared about my little timber and what could happen. And he suggested that if instead of wearing a Michigan hoodie, if I were to wear a Georgia Bulldog hoodie, he'd probably be better by now. Now, in the past, I probably would have taken offense to that. Like if you think I'm serious now, whoa, I was really serious before. And not a lot of stuff was a joke to me. And now that I am maybe getting older and I'm trying to lighten up a bit, I saw that as, at first I said, Bulldogs. I mean, it's not like I'm opposed to the Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, I've watched them. I watch them. It's not like I have this hatred for the Georgia Bulldogs by any means. And I thought to myself, well, I'd wear that hoodie. I would wear that hoodie. And I would especially wear that hoodie if the person who gave me the hoodie felt super duper good about it. Here's what I'm talking about. Here's my idea. My way of living is now you guys. So I earn and make a living by talking to you in a box. I cannot see any of you. I can only see me, and I can see your names, and I can see your questions, and I can do all that. Okay? And so those are the things that I can do. And so when I find it hard to ask you guys for money, because I want to be able to give you something in return. So if you pay for a consult, you're getting information regarding you personally, and I am making a living or trying to make a living. Okay? Living. It's not the same as being a doctor in an office. And so I always find it hard to ask you guys, hey, if you want to support me, can you send some money? And it's because I'm being honest here, it's very difficult for me. So when I get done doing our live stream, I just put, hey, if you want to click this link and donate to Center Stage Primary Care, please do so. And I just leave it. And I say, okay, if they want to do that, that'd be great. If they don't, at least they weren't like pressured. In fact, I can't see you. So you're not doing anything face to face. You're like anonymous with your name behind Ohio. Yes, I see that. I would have trouble wearing that, but I would. Pastel, I would. I would have a disclaimer when I wore it, but I would tell you I would wear it. But okay, so I see where sending money to Dr. J would be difficult. You say, what is Dr. J doing with her money? I mean, she could be stocking it up and buying a brand new mansion for all we know. I say, oh, okay. So is it easier, here's my idea, where, hey, I don't really want to send money, but it sure would be a cute idea if we sent her some sort of apparel, because you can see me from here, chest up, right? So what if it was like the Georgia hoodie, the Georgia Bulldog hoodie? What if it was a t-shirt? What if it long sleeve shirt? What if it was a hat? What if it was, I guess it could be socks, and I could show you my socks, but that would be a little more difficult. But are you guys getting the ideas? And you say, but that's only benefiting you. Of course, it would be benefiting me, because you would be helping me change my wardrobe, because my wardrobe is all one-sided, right? It's all one-sided. It would be fun to have something that is not one-sided. So you would be benefiting me by diminishing my current wardrobe. And I would wear your apparel on a reel or on a live stream. And if you would like, I can give you kudos by name. But if you don't like that, I could just give you kudos in public, and you could like go get a warm fuzzy and a smile and go, well, she mentioned me. She mentioned, and she's wearing my stuff. And that makes me feel good. That makes me feel better than if I were to just simply send her a PayPal donation that I don't know what she's doing with it. Unless, of course, you said, this PayPal donation is for you to buy a Georgia Bulldog hoodie. You better wear it next Saturday. Okay. So there's options here. You can call it a bad idea. I'm okay with that. And, you know, this is how I learned, but it just came to me. And I thought it would be a cute idea, you know. I don't know. I just thought it would be a cute idea. It would be fun. And yes, I would be benefiting because I would be changing my wardrobe. And honestly, one of the things that makes me happy is seeing that I helped someone and made them happy. So it's not so much that if I were to buy the Georgia hoodie or the Michigan hoodie, it doesn't quite mean as much to me as if you bought the Georgia hoodie. And I know you're saying, well, yeah, Dr. Jensen, you didn't have to buy it and use your own money. I get that. But people like me don't necessarily buy things like that. Everything I have, for the most part, has been gifted to me. And the appreciation I shows on their faces. Okay? It shows on their faces. Yes, I bought this t-shirt. Yes, I bought this t-shirt. But there are a lot of things that have been gifted to me that mean the world to me. I could say, you know, I could go through my closet, or I could go through my garage, or whatever it is, and I could say, ooh, blah, blah, blah gave that to me in 1998, and this one was from 2006. I might not know the exact year, but I'm going to know the situation that arose. What birthday was it? What Christmas was it? What holiday? What were we doing where that came up? And that is just things that, you know, I just wanted to share that with you. If that is something that you guys would like to do, just message me or email me at IronLadyDoc@AOL, and we can, you know, hash over it. If you have different ideas, please share. You know, it's not always about me getting things, because I think you guys are getting things. You're getting me at, you know, giving you advice. It's not really advice. It's not even really medical advice, because my disclaimer says this is not medical advice. It's for healthcare information only. If I could supply you with information that helps you gather up enough information that you can feel confident to either, one, talk to someone else and bounce things over or off of, or you simply take it back to your doctor and say, hey, what do you think about this? Now, they're going to listen to you, or they're going to shut you down. It seems like most often doctors shut down the patients. Why do I say that? I used to do it. I'd say, oh, that's great. Where did you learn that? But I didn't really want them to answer it, because that would take too long. And so I'd say, well, here's what I think, and here's what I think you should do, and you let me know if you want to do it. Well, isn't that the same as like being paternalistic? So if you guys want to eat a certain diet, vegan, carnivore, keto, by all means, do it, but know why you're doing it. And if you do choose that, do you need to supplement with something? Is it a diet that you can thrive and survive? Okay. If it's just a simple survival mode, and you're on a desert island, and hopefully somebody's going to come get you in, a month or so, you could survive on maybe whatever is in the environment. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if it was just plain dirt or sand. I don't know if you would be able to survive. But so getting into yesterday's conversation in regards to the question that came up are why are carnivores starting to add carbs back into their diet? And is this equally, can anybody listening relate to that? And can we all just do that? Like if they're doing it, why could I do it? Well, I would ask you to look back on why you went carnivore in the first place. Why did you go carnivore in the first place? Did you go carnivore because you were sick and tired of making or having chronic diseases, having muscle aches and pains, having joint aches and pains, having rashes, looking older? You know, you're just not as young. You can't run anymore. You can't do the things. You're having trouble getting off the couch, out of bed. Your joints creak. You ache. You don't feel like going to the gym. You don't feel like going anywhere because you just are unhealthy. And so then you go carnivore and all of those things change. You reverse all of your conditions. In fact, you're off your medicines and you are, no more diabetes, no more blood pressure problems. You're off your medications and you feel so much better. You're sleeping better and your relationships are better and your work environment is better and you're actually able to stay focused. We might need to go off of YouTube because the people who are on YouTube talking right now, and this seems to happen on Sundays, and I really hate to do this, but are there people that have truly medical questions, or is this just you guys just trying to slam or bash me? Because honestly, the people that I have over on Instagram or Facebook, they are so much more, they're nicer actually. They're nicer and they truly want to learn. So and I'm not going to have somebody monitor you YouTubers over there and kick you off, because you're actually helping my algorithm by all of the questions that you're asking, which they're really not questions, they're statements. And, I like to say that you're helping me, but it is a bit distracting. And so that actually just hurts the people who have real questions. So if you are on YouTube and you have a real question and you also have an Instagram account, jump over to Instagram and I'll be happy to answer your questions if they're relevant. Now, that leaves me with you YouTubers just simply having to listen to me and I am ignoring you. Okay? So if you have a question, you're on YouTube, jump over to Instagram and we'll get those questions answered. Okay? So YouTube, this is going to be recorded, but I'm not looking over there. I'm not going to entertain your BS, so to speak. Okay? My meter has reached 100% already. All right? Okay. So let's go back to Instagram and see if I missed any questions here. Heartless says, maybe your dog needs a compression belt. I never thought about that. So to maybe keep him stable for a little while, I definitely could try that. Yeah, great idea. I will definitely, I think as long as we don't keep it too tight, right? Heartless, Harold, as long as we don't do it too tight and hurt his inner contents, right? We don't want to hurt his bowels. We don't want to hurt his bladder. We don't want to do those things. When we put a belt around it, he is a male, so we're going to be pushing his things up into his stomach higher. So we just got to be careful and think all these things through. So it's something I'll need to think through. It's not like a human where we put a belt around us and keep us stabilized, because really we're only maybe pushing on our inner gut contents more so than anything else. But it is something that I will look into and consider. Of course. Thank you. Melanie says, good for you for calling it out. You know, Melanie, I appreciate you being here because I know that you're on Facebook a lot and for me. But yeah, at some point yesterday, Melanie, it was beautiful. There were so many great questions over there and people truly wanted to listen. And then I see today it's kind of reverted back to just the ignorance of people and the relationship. If Melanie, if they're treating you like that, which they don't know, imagine how they treat the people that are in their life. Imagine how they actually treat themselves. And so these people have definite problems going on, and you know that as well as I do, Melanie. And honestly, we just need to pray. And I'm a praying person. And sometimes when I get done or even in the middle, I'm praying to myself as I'm talking to you. I'm praying for these people. I'm thinking, should I mention this or not? And I'm praying to God, and he says, you know what? Just make it be known. Just make it be known. And so that's what I did. All right? I made it be known. So getting back to this, the carnivores eating a sugar or starting to add back carbohydrates. And the influencer who brought this up, yes, who brought this up, I don't know, it was yesterday or last week, whenever I saw it, it was brought to my attention. And they said, hey, what is this? Is this, I've been carnivore for a year. Can I start adding back things? I said, of course you can. You mean really, Dr. Jensen, I can add back? I said, absolutely. I'm not going to tell you what to eat or what not to eat. Well, why not? Because that is up to you. You chose to go carnivore because you were likely having some problems. It wasn't just a fad. You stuck with it for a year or 2 or 3 or 10. There was a reason why. So you are asking me if you can go back to being sick. I would say, go ahead. You can do whatever you want. Don't have to ask me. If you choose that you want to be sick and you know how to get there, go back. If you choose not to be sick, don't go back. It's up to you. But for somebody like this influencer who did this and puts it out publicly, he's making it sound like all of you guys can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Right? If I eat 150, 200 grams of carbs, my blood sugar can go from 158 right after I eat it down to 82 in less than 2 hours. I'm good. You guys can be good too. It didn't affect me, he said. I'm good. I'm insulin sensitive. Are you? No, you're not. We don't know your insulin level. We don't know your insulin level before you ate, during your eating, right when you got done eating, and 2 hours later. You only told us what your blood sugar was. You didn't tell us what your muscle mass was. You didn't tell us what your fat was. So women out there, are you a man? No, you're not. So do you have the muscle mass of a man? No, you don't. This individual had quite a bit of mass. So his blood sugar is going to be able to be taken up by muscle. So in other words, we don't know if you're insulin sensitive or not. You might not be. You just have more muscle. So that muscle is taking up the sugar, correct? And when our sugar levels are actually coming down and we're measuring that, a majority, if you have muscle, I would say 80% is going into your muscle. But over time, you doing that, your muscles are full. Your fat cells are full. Your insulin level is high. It does not have a chance to come back down. And you are now insulin resistant. But you're looking at your blood sugar meter and patting yourself on the back. And so I do have a problem with this because that guy never said, hey, I'm able to do this because I have more muscle mass than you. So if one of my suggestions for you, and you should do it no matter what, if you're going to eat carbs or not eat carbs, is to do resistance training, do high intensity interval training, build muscle. It's not only good for being insulin sensitive, but it's also good for longevity. If you're able to get up out of your chair or off your bed or off the stool, you need muscle to do that. Or you need a lot of grab handles. Well, and then you need triceps and biceps to be able to pull you up. I would much rather have the biggest muscles in my body, my glutes, my hams, my lats, be the strongest. Why would I want to rely on my weak links, my biceps, my triceps? Those are the smallest muscles and likely your weakest muscles as compared to your glutes and hams and quads and lats. So this particular individual did not tell or talk about the benefits of lifting weights or doing some sort of resistance training. You have to do something over and above what you normally do. If somebody says, yeah, but Dr. Jensen, I walk every single day. Perfect. I want you to walk every single day. In fact, I want you to walk outside every single day. I want you to get out with nature. I want you to do that. But walking is not going to preserve your muscle mass. And it's going down. And we're growing wider and we're no longer growing taller. We're adults. Our growth height-wise is done, but we're growing wider. Yeah, that's just our metabolism shutting down. No, it's not. No, it's not. I want you to think about something. When we're thinking about metabolism, this is a question I want you guys to help me answer, okay? Because most of you who reach a certain age, who are listening right now, you are saying to yourself, boy, I don't eat as much as I used to, but I seem to be getting more body fat. That my metabolism is just shutting down. It's my hormones. I just, I sleep a little more and I don't work out as much as I used to. And that's probably what's going on, right? Because as you age, your metabolism it's just gonna get worse. It's just gonna go down, and that's just a normal part of aging. Or is it? Here's the question I want to present to you. Is it your metabolism shutting down that caused you to get fat accumulation? Or is it the fat accumulation that caused your metabolism to shut down? Because we have always been under the impression that our metabolism is shutting down and we are going to get fatter because of it. Our hormones are naturally going down and we're going to get fatter because of it. But what if the fat accumulation caused our metabolism to shut down? What if our metabolism was never a factor? That would tell me that if we were to take two twins, the exact same genetics, and we watch them through life, and at 50 years old, one is a lean, mean machine, and the other is an obese individual. How do you explain that? They're the exact. They grew up. And I'm going to add further. We kept them in a hotel room for 50 years. They never got out. We brought their food. We brought the exercise to them. I mean, how do you go about? Is that, well, everybody's individual, but they have the same genetics. And so I believe that there are stages in our life, in our metabolism. Let's just call it metabolism, because first we have to define metabolism. Metabolism is a combination of anabolic and catabolic. So it's a sum total of anabolism building up and catabolism breaking down. Okay? From birth to a year old is probably the fastest time that your metabolism is heightened. And from birth to 1 year, and then 1 year to say age 20. You'd say, well, what happens during that? Because you went through adolescence and it should be like really high. I mean, you see these kids, they're growing up in the house and they're eating like a ton of food. right? Are they eating a ton of food because their metabolism is high or because they're simply just growing? They're growing and they need nutrition. And then there's age 20 to 60, where you guys see it as the metabolism is just going downhill. And then you see from 60 to 90. So what is the difference between these stages? When we're birthed to 1 year old, we have a ton of brown fat. We have more brown fat than white fat. Brown fat is metabolically active. White fat, not so much. And so that birth to 1 year is very important to how you feed your baby. The best thing to feed your baby is breast milk. That is the best thing to feed your baby. And then you got this large time period from 1 to 20 where most of us think that your metabolism is really at its highest. It is not. It's actually stabilizing. It came down from its peak because birth to 1 year was the peak. And then from age 1 year to 20, it's starting to dwindle. But we recognize it as a time of superior growth. That's not metabolism. And so again, I would tell you that what we feed our kids from age 1 to 20 is very important. If you give them nutritionally not dense food, they will continue to consume looking for nutrients. If you gave them steak and eggs and whole foods, they will fill up and be satiated with nutrients that will feed their growth. They're likely going to grow taller. They're likely going to grow stronger. They're likely going to grow smarter. But if a parent feeds their kids jar food and then graduates them to Cheerios and Goldfish and ice cream and cake and brownies and crap with no nutritional value, that is not helping them any. In fact, it's deleterious. They are growing and you are stunting their growth. You didn't give them any we give them meat once a day. They're eating supper with us. So you had meat once a day. They ate a small portion and you piled it with a bunch of other things that had no nutritional value. Macaroni and cheese, rice, potatoes, no nutritional value. Could you have paired it with an egg? Could you have paired it with bacon, chicken, surf and turf, fish? You see, children learn what they live. So if they see you eating certain things, they are going to eat certain things. If you don't make time to feed them and you go to McDonald's, you are making another you. Okay? That's what you know. And then you say, oh, it's so warm and fuzzy to be with my kids and we're all just eating McDonald's. It's so fun. We're together. You're fun. You're eating together. Crapola. No nutritional value. And yeah, it's bad for you, but it's really bad for your kids. I mean, maybe McDonald's back in my day was a little better than what it is today. I mean, it's hard to imagine, but I think it's possible. There wasn't quite as many chemicals known then as there are now, and what they're doing to us. And so it leads me into this question that takes you very deep and say, but can I make these changes? You know I got this 1-year-old. Can I make these changes? Well, I don't know. And you don't know until you try. It's kind of like asking somebody, like if you ask me a question, can you play the piano? And I would tell you, when you ask me that question, you're expecting a yes or a no. But my answer to you would be, I don't know. And you might say, you don't know? What do you mean you don't know? Why don't you know? And I would tell you, because I've never tried. How do I know if I can play or not play the piano if I never tried? So get me the piano, get me the lesson, and let's see if I can play the piano. If I've given it worthwhile effort, and then you ask me the question, can you play the piano? I can give you an answer. Yes, I can play the piano. No, I cannot play the piano. It's going to take you guys making a choice. And I hear people say, I mean, I've been around people being a doctor for 27 years. I've heard everything. People will say, yeah, but change takes time. I mean, I've actually had patients that have been seeing me for 27 years and say, Dr. Jensen, baby steps. I hear what you're saying, but baby steps. I'll get there. I say, patient, it's been 27 years. You haven't even made a baby step yet. Well, but I'm thinking about it. Okay. So you're saying to me, change takes time. But that's not really true, because change occurs the moment you say, I'm done living like this. The moment you choose a new path and mean it. Now, the results might take time. The growth might take consistency, but the decision, that is instant. The minute you make a choice, it's instant. I'm going to give you an example, okay? The story of a farmer. The farmer his field is 2 miles away from his home. And he sets out, he's 2 miles down the road. He's about to take his tractor into the field. In fact, today he was actually going to just walk his field and check out the growth of the corn or the soybeans or whatever he was growing. He was going to check the sample and do a sample. And he walked because he wanted to get a little exercise. I'm trying to build up the scenario here, okay? And he's 2 miles down the road. He digs into his pocket and he says, oh my gosh, I forgot my cigarettes. He turns around, he starts walking, and he gets this thought in his head like, what am I doing? I'm going to walk back 2 miles to get my cigarettes? No, I'm not. You see, he kind of got some indignation, I think is the word, where he kind of got mad and saying, are you seriously going to walk back 2 miles to get your cigarettes, to walk back another 2 miles to do a soil sample and to check your corn leaves to see if you have any bugs growing? At that moment, he made the decision. Change happens in a moment, and you can do it. You just have to make the choice. So if you make the choice to change your household and what they're eating, you can do it. You just have chosen not to. So can you do it? Your answer should be, I don't know. I've never tried. Right? Pastel asks, can kids be on a carnivore diet? Question mark. So let's stop right there. What would be the reason that your kids could not be on a carnivore diet? If a carnivore diet is the most nutritional diet you can eat, why would you not choose a carnivore diet? So what you're telling me by posing this question is that a carnivore diet is harmful, but their cookies and their crackers and their honey and their bread and their toast and their cereal and their milk full of sugar and their Coca-Colas and their burritos and their pizza and their macaroni and cheese is healthier? It's more nutritionally dense? No, it's not. So what is it about carnivore that would get you to think that it could be unhealthy for your kids? You have a son who's 7 years old and he suffers from allergies. That's what you're telling me. I think his immune system is weak. Well, you don't think, you know. Pastel, you know that allergies are a form of immune system degradation. And if he's been, this 7-year-old, been consuming bread and pasta and cereal and Coke and pizza and one meal a week with meat and let's just say it's even potatoes and vegetables. And then when you put it in front of them, they say, ew, Mom, I don't like that. I'm not going to eat that. Give me some macaroni and cheese. And they say, God, I don't want you to starve. And then you just go make it for them. So do you see that I'm not trying to degrade you. I'm trying to get you to think logically. A lion doesn't raise their kids, their pups, and go looking for ice cream. Well, they need variety. No, they need things to help them grow. Does pizza help them grow? Well, yeah, they're getting taller or they're looking for more pizza and you are supplying it because now you've developed an addicted kid, not moderately addicted. There is no such thing. They're either addicted or they're not addicted. You already know that they're not going to eat meat and eggs put before them with melted butter because you've already given them something that they're addicted to. Macaroni and cheese and pizza and burritos and crackers and potato chips and all of these things. So now you got to either one, continue letting them do whatever they want or put your foot down because he's 7 years old and say, you know what? You don't have any money. You can't buy anything. I am the maker of you and I want you to be nutritionally dense. And so when they're 18 or 19 or whatever, then I guess they can make their own decisions. But children learn what they live. So if they learn that you're feeding them a carnivore diet and they're getting stronger and their allergies go away, because something you're feeding them or they're eating it, right, has caused the allergy. Is it gluten? Is it sugar? Is it whatever protein that they're allergic to that you've been feeding them? Some sort of plant protein that you are giving them, you're allergic to. So on a trial basis, you're asking me the question, can a carnivore help them? Well, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Well, you haven't tried it. Try it and see. Try it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, give it a month. Change takes time, right? The results take time. Change does not take time. Change is instantaneously. I'm going to change. I'm throwing it all away today. All we're going to do is eat meat, eggs, butter, maybe some chicken, some fish, eggs and chicken and butter and meat and deer and bison, buffalo, sheep, lamb, all that. And I'm going to see if their allergies go away. It's going to take time. Could take 4 weeks. Could take 2 days and you'll notice a big change. I don't know. But there is nothing, hear me out, about a carnivore diet of eating nutritionally dense food that requires no supplementation, zero. You don't have to add fiber. You don't have to add vitamin C. You don't have to add vitamin D. None of that. But on those other diets, you do. If you're feeding your kid processed foods, are you? They're going to need supplementation. That's why they're eating the processed food. It was supplemented. They took something, stripped it down, and actually had to make it was not food. And then they supplied it and fortified it with vitamins and minerals. And now you call it food in a box or a bag with a barcode. I mean, think about it. Does a cow come with a box or a bag only if it's processed? So these are the questions. His immune system is weak because of what he's eating. And he's probably getting fat. And that fat is slowing down his metabolism. So from him being from 1 to 20, his metabolism's going down, down, down faster than if you fed your kid nutritionally dense food like steak and eggs and butter and tallow and ghee and lard and bacon and pork chops. Well, what if they ask for something else? Who is the boss? Mama, Pastel, come on. You are. What other questions you got? Thank you so much for the advice. I'm trying so hard. I know, Pastel, but here's another thing, and I just want you to please take this because I care. I care, and here's what I want you to tell you about this trying thing. If Pastel invites me, Dr. J, over to their house for supper, and you tell me to be there at 6 o'clock and that I don't need to bring anything, just bring me. And I tell you, I'll try. What does that sound like to you? Does it sound like I will show up? Does it sound like I will show up at 6 o'clock? Because when I say try, I may not even be there. And it could be half an hour late or it could be half an hour early. But that's what that word try means. And we use it a lot. So I go back and say, change happens the moment you decide. Or if you were to ask me, do you want to come to dinner tonight? Dinner is at 6 o'clock. I'm going to say yes or no. If I say I'll try, you don't know what I'm going to do if I even do it. And so when you say I'm trying, how am I supposed to know if you're doing it at all? And you just have to do it. You have to make a choice, okay? You have to just make the choice. The moment you decide that you're done living like this and you're done having your children live like this is the moment you choose a new path and you mean it, okay? Marianne says, if I stop eating grass-fed butter, will my LDL go down? Marianne, what else are you eating? What LDLs are you talking about? Because you could eat Oreo cookies and your LDLs will go down. So you're going to stop eating grass-fed butter and substitute it with what? Are you going to substitute it with margarine? Are you just not going to consume grass-fed butter just in general? And you think that your grass-fed butter is all the cause of your LDL elevated. And so if you stop the grass-fed butter, your LDL is going to go down. Or let me pose another question. Is the LDL that's going to go down when you stop the grass-fed butter, all the large buoyant ones that are supposedly the good bad guys? So I'm just asking, it's hard for me to hear back from you guys, and I don't know. So Marianne's also eating beef and eggs. Marianne, are you only eating beef and eggs and butter? And are you going to, if the butter came from the cow and it is grass-fed, why don't you stop the beef? Why don't you stop the eggs? What is it about the butter? Is it only the butter that is raising your LDL? I don't know. Not until you check it. And why is it that you want to lower your LDL? Marianne, what is your goal to lowering your LDL? I mean, if I had a goal of lowering LDL, the LDLs I would want to lower are my small, dense LDLs. And how would I lower my small, dense LDLs? I would lower my carbohydrates. I would lower carbs because they're sugar. So I'm not going to eat sugar. I'm not going to eat carbohydrates if I want to lower my small dense LDLs. So those are decisions that, you have to make. Retail My Ride says, hello, doc. Hello. Lot of things, questions here today. I want to talk a little bit about Alzheimer's. This came up, and I just want to ask you a question, because I think this is common in that we think of Alzheimer's as some plaquing that occurs in our arteries in our brain. And in those plaques, there's like tangles and fibrillary units, the things, amyloid plaques, okay? I think in general that the theory of amyloid plaque is gone, that there really aren't plaques. It's something else is going on. The reason you might also think it is high sugar diet, because now they're calling it type 3 diabetes. And they're just throwing up another thing to distract you. Because when they call it type 3 diabetes, did they ever tell you to deliberately stay away from the things that cause diabetes, like carbohydrates? No. They actually changed what medicines we're going to give you. So if plaque's not the cause, and we know it's not because the medicines we have are supposed to decrease the plaques, but they don't. And so if Alzheimer's is still very popular chronic disease these days, treating the plaques has not helped, has it? No. So now if we tell you that it's type 3 diabetes and we got a new medicine, what is it about the new, why didn't we just stop the cause of the type 3 diabetes, which in this case is carbohydrates? It's toxicity of carbs. It'd be like saying that you're not going to have a heart attack so this is going back to Marianne's question about LDL. Why doesn't Marianne just simply take a statin? Oh no, Dr. Jensen, I'm not going to take a statin. Those are bad for me. Those are bad. They're going to cause dementia. They're going to cause me to get Alzheimer's. They're going to cause me to get diabetes. They're going to cause muscle aches and pains. All of these things, they're just going to start causing all these things. So I'm not going to take a statin, but yet you really truly think that LDL is the cause of your heart attack, when I don't believe it is. That's the same as the plaque is not really the cause of your Alzheimer's. And it's not just carbohydrates, although is that a big part of it? Absolutely. But it's stuff in our environment. I mean, think about anything that can cause cognitive decline. Could it be heavy metals that's in our environment? Could it be glyphosate? Do you live near a farm? Could it be nanoplastics? Do you drink out of plastic bottles water and then you wrap, when you get done, when you got leftovers, do you wrap them in plastic and store them away in the refrigerator? Do you eat out of plastic containers? Do you store them in Tupperware? All of these things, you have to take into consideration. Have you been exposed to smoke? Are you around burning plants, burning smoke, burning things that give off smoke? All of these things in our environment. What if you grew up and, your dad was a gas station attendant and you went to work with him every single day? And you're around diesel fumes and ethanol and you're around all of these toxins. Is it possible to get cognitive decline? Is it possible to have injury in your coronary arteries just from that exposure of diesel fumes or gasoline fumes, even if it's premium? So can you completely eliminate everything? Probably not. Probably not. We can't live in a bubble. I mean, we can try as best as we can, right? Is to live in a bubble. So you're not going to live too close to New York City, and you're going to try to pick a suburb, and you're not going to live on a farm because you know that the toxins that they spray on the plants is poisonous. So you're going to find an in-between, like some sort of a suburb. So that's a possibility. You're not going to drink water out of a plastic bottle. You're going to drink it out of stainless steel. You're not going to store your things, the leftovers, in Tupperware or in aluminum foil or plastic wrap. You're going to put it into stainless steel containers. You might choose how you're going to cook your foods. You might use a stainless steel pan. You're not going to use Teflon. You're probably not going to use copper that can leach into you. You're probably not going to use a cast iron pan that can leach into you. Oh no, they're made really, really good. Okay, so you're willing to take that chance? You're going to cook 3 meals a day on a cast iron pan, and you're going to play Russian roulette. You're going to roll the dice. That's fine. You can do that, but I just want you to have enough information. Sean says, I got my triglycerides from 370 to 230 from just exercise. I hope to get them to 160 by December. Sean, what is it about December that you have to wait to get your triglycerides checked? Did you know that if you were just to fast for 3 days, your triglycerides would be down to 70? I mean, is it just exercise, Sean, that has caused you didn't change anything. You didn't change your diet. All you did was you just exercised. And your 370 went to 230. That's what you're telling me. Triglycerides are elevated because of carbohydrates. You eat carbs, your triglycerides are going to be high. At 230, even at 160, your goal is too high. You, Sean, are a setup for a heart attack. If your triglyceride to HDL ratio is greater than 1, your risk of having a heart attack is greater than somebody who has a ratio less than 1. So again, if you want to play Russian roulette and you're making baby steps just because of exercise, the triglyceride level, honestly, it depends on how long you fasted. If you fasted for 12 hours one time, and if you fasted 14 the next, it's going to throw it off. Even 140 points. If you ate pizza 3 days before your test, it's going to throw it off as compared to if you ate eggs and steak 3 days before your test. If you're basing everything on the fact that your exercise lowered your triglycerides, just wait 72 hours and recheck it. It doesn't have to wait till December. Your exercise, it's helping you as far as I'm hoping you're lifting weights and doing whatever, you're gaining more muscle that can hopefully soak up some of the sugar that you're consuming. But, you know, I don't know. Sean says, my LDL went from up 122 to 143, but I'm happy my triglycerides went down 40%. Well, I can make them go down almost 100%, 90% if you stop eating. Just don't eat. Can't go over 72 hours. Don't go over 72 hours. And will that make you happier, Sean? Why studies show LDL at 55, there is no incidence of heart attacks? Really? Whose study was that? Because there are people sitting in the hospital right now who have had a heart attack and they have an LDL at 20. So there is no incidence, like 0? Sean, are you going to live and die with that comment? I hope not. I mean, you put it out there. You said there is no evidence or no incidence. What study shows there is no, N-O, zero, no means zero, the something has an LDL low as 70. I'm not sure what your question is. Right, Sean. It is rare, but you could look at LDLs, and if they are that low, something's going on because you need LDL. That person probably has a terrible immune system, and they probably already have cognitive decline because they don't have enough cholesterol. So they're likely eating a vegetable diet. Vegetable, we'll add fruit in there. Sean says, oh, diet 2. I added in more omega-3s. Oh, so you started eating fish, Sean? So you're eating fish and grass-fed beef and pasture-raised eggs? Is that how you're getting your omega-3? And reduced your carbs. So reduce them by 10 grams, 20 grams, 100 grams. Good morning, Chat with Lucy. You know my mom asks about you. Every weekend, my mom will ask about you. She wants to know how you're doing. So how is Chat with Lucy? I was thinking if I don't see you this weekend, I was going to message you and see how you're doing. Yes, fish, eggs, and steak. So Sean, is the steak grass-fed steak, grass-fed beef? Because that's going to have more omega-3s. If they're pasture-raised eggs, those are going to have more omega-3s. If your fish is wild caught, it's going to have more omega-3s. Okay? So 90 grams a day of what? 90 grams a day of what? I'm not sure what your grass-fed, it says on the package. Good. So that's great. What is your omega-3 level? What is your omega-3 to omega-6 level? We want that level to be less than 1. Oh, 90 grams of carbs a day. Okay. What are those carbs? Okay. I think I missed some questions up here because I've been talking to Sean. I apologize if I missed any other questions up here. No, it doesn't appear to. So back to the concept of the Alzheimer's, I would suggest to you that if you constantly have a brain that is hungry, meaning if you are continuously feeding it sugar and it gets used to having that sugar, it's going to consistently and constantly be hungry. And it will constantly cause a hunger for more carbs, for more sugar. The minute you make a choice to go to ketones as your fuel is when you will start seeing changes, and hopefully the changes that has not gotten too bad, okay? So what would I do? I would, for Alzheimer's, I probably would try to add in some MCT oils into, some medium and even some short chain fatty acids. I would want to feed my loved one beta hydroxybutyrate, which is a ketone that most of us have heard about by now. That would be helpful, is to increase BHB, beta hydroxybutyrate. There are studies being done on the types of ketones, like say, your family member is not going to eat a carnivore diet to get into ketosis, because if there's just a little bit of sugar on board, you'll never get ketones to be produced. If there's a little bit of sugar, that means there's a little bit of insulin in doses that are higher than physiologic. So they're going to be supra-physiologic, so higher than what we actually need, which is only 5 grams. We only need 5 grams of sugar. We have 5 liters of blood and we need 5 to 6 grams of sugar. We indulge much more than that. Many of you have no muscle to take it up. Not that that's a good thing, but it is better. I mean, my thought process, don't put it in your body in the first place. But again, I can't answer for you, but a brain can only use glucose or ketones. And if glucose is around, it will not use ketones. Okay? It won't. And if glucose is around, you don't even have ketones. But let's just say you ate the ketones. There are people doing studies on Alzheimer's patients where they still stayed on their same diet and added in ketones. It's not going to feed back and tell the insulin level to go down. So you're still causing a diabetic brain, and you're just simply giving ketones in hopes that it's going to help some sort of cognition. But the best plan of action would have been remove the carbs and add the ketones, whether it's exogenously. And there are different sources of exogenous ketones. There's ketone salts, there's ketone esters, and then there's ketone acids. And the acids would be the least amount of conversion that your body would have to do. So like say you took a ketone ester. That ester is going to need to be converted in the liver into the active form of that ketone. Same with a ketone salt, a keto salt. It's going to take many conversions. It's same when we put stuff on our face, like say retinol, or let's just call it a retinoid. A retinoid is something that looks like a retin. So retin A. So you can put on your skin in the form of retinol, you can put in a retinol ester. You could put on a retinaldehyde. You could put on tretinoin. Tretinoin is pure retin A, whereas an ester of retinol would need to go through some conversions to get to an active form of retin A for your face. And some people are okay with that. And I am too, because their skin is very sensitive to retin A. It gets dry, it gets red, it's angry, it's inflamed. And so if you stick to the esters, which are very weak form of retin, a very weak form of retinoid, it could be the best thing for you. And so I would say is consistency matters more than the strength at this point, because you could do the strong one and you're going to give up because it causes redness and inflammation and irritability and flaking and all that. And so you gave up. So consistency in this manner weighs heavily. Makes sense? I just gave you that analogy because it was something that just sprung up in my head. And when we're talking about ketones and conversion of ketones, maybe it is that you do a ketone salt. One, it's what you can afford. Two, you're okay with being consistent in hopes that you're also lowering carbohydrates. Okay? So a ketone salt, a ketone ester, a ketone acid. The next, chat with Lucy. Tell your mom I think of her too. Continue my cancer journey, amyloidosis affecting kidneys, but I'm staying upbeat. So what are they doing for your amyloidosis? Amyloidosis, a condition of amyloid. Good morning, Dennis. Sean is eating brown rice, quinoa. Sorry to take over your life. You're not. Don't worry about it. People probably have questions just like you do, and they're wondering, well, why can't I be like Sean and lower my triglycerides from 370 to 250? He's eating sweet potatoes, and he's eating quinoa and brown rice. Sean, my question to you is, what is the nutritional value of your quinoa? What is the nutritional value of your rice? And what is the nutritional value of your sweet potato? Are there any nutritional value of the things that you're eating that's growing in the ground? And if we go a little bit further, Sean says he's added 4 kilos of muscle. So he's added 8 pounds of muscle. How long a time, Sean? Who measured that? How did you get into an underwater testing or got in one of those body fat monitoring eggs where they took the gravity out and simply, did you get a DEXA scan? Did you get a DEXA scan before and after? I mean, I would like to know all of the variables, because 8 pounds of muscle, I mean, you are a guy. And is that possible? Of course, it's possible, but that's a lot of muscle mass, okay? It kind of makes me think about this, where those GLPs will tell you, hey, you didn't lose as much muscle mass as they're saying. You only lost 6 pounds. 6 pounds. That's a lot. Well, no. It's only 6 pounds. But look how much fat you lost. You lost 20 pounds of fat. Yeah, but I lost 6 pounds of muscle. You just said that's okay to lose 6 pounds of muscle? Well, what if you're a 70-year-old female and you lose 6 pounds? And what if you're a 70-year-old male and you lose 6 pounds of muscle? That's going to set you back. Your body is not able to make muscle like it used to be. And so if you're trying to lose weight and you go on a GLP and you lose 6 pounds of mass, of muscle, lean muscle, and you're excited about the 20 pounds of fat you lost, I think I would rather keep my fat and keep my muscle. But again, that's me. Lucy says, if chemo doesn't solve kidney issues, stem cell replacement is on the back burner. Whose stem cells are you going to use, Lucy? Okay, Sean says, you're right, 230 is high, but my HDL is still 30. It's going to take a while to raise it. Well, what if I told you, Sean, that I can raise it in, I don't know, a week? Maybe I can raise it in 3 days. I truly believe I don't know if you're telling us the whole truth and nothing but the truth on why your HDL is 30, okay? I have my suspicions. Chat with Lucy says, I continue carnivore with cheater, treat, coffee with butter, a tad of heavy cream. Thank you for your wisdom and God-inspired love for all of us, Dr. J. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Okay. What other questions do you have? Any questions? I mean, I took some notes, but I want you guys to really get involved in this. I can give you one more. This was a question that was on my feed for Instagram, and somebody was asking me, have I ever heard of Walter Kepner? Have you guys ever heard of Walter Kepner? Walter Kepner was, he is the founder of the rice diet in the 1930s. He was at Duke University, and I had to look it up because I didn't know who was. I mean, that's why I'm glad that people are doing this, because yes, it was a derogatory comment, but it got me to look it up. So he asked, or she, I don't know who it was, I can't even remember, have you heard of Walter Kepner? I said, no, I should look this up. Okay, so I looked it up. This was the founder of the rice diet in the 1930s at Duke University. And this diet consisted of 90% carbs, 10% fat, and 10% protein. It was restricted in sodium. It was restricted in calories. They actually, and if I understand this study well enough, they actually put these people into not a penitentiary, but kind of like a penitentiary. Okay, you kind of put yourself into a jail. And so they could do this study. And today, that would be unethical. You cannot do those kind of studies anymore. So they kept these people sedentary. Now, the study was on, could we make a chronic disease like high blood pressure or kidney disease or whatever go away? So they gave them fruit, they gave them fruit juices, they gave them rice, they even added a little bit of added sugar. And they noted in the time that they kept these people restricted, sedentary, eating only the food on a restricted calorie diet, that their hypertension went down. So their blood pressure went down. Now, was that due to the rice diet? You know, that was rice and fruit and juices and maybe some added sugar. Or Was it due to the calorie restriction? Or was it due to the sodium restriction? Was it due to the sedentary lifestyle? What was it? So did they come to that conclusion? So what's happening today is not really the rice diet, but it's the sugar diet, where I'm guessing it's still high carb, 90%, 10% fat, 10% protein. But now there's no calorie restriction. And most of the people who are doing this particular diet are really very physically active. And it's giving these people a short-term fat loss. And you're saying so to yourself, well, you mean I can just eat sugar and I can lose fat? Maybe initially. Because eventually it's not sustainable. And usually because nutritional deficiencies will start to creep in. And likely that's what happened in the 1930s with Walter Kepner and his rice diet. So I don't suspect that these people doing a sugar diet are going to sustain this. And they're building up insulin resistance in the meantime. So if that is something you guys want to try, I just gave you information and you can use that information to your best of your, to whatever you'd like. Sooner says, Sean, I used to think cholesterol levels were static and took a while to change. It's not true. Dr. J is right that cholesterol and triglycerides can change in a few days. They absolutely can. You know, it's actually crazy that we've been bamboozled with this information for so long that it's become the Overton window for us. And that's why I do what I do. I truly want to, you know, get you guys to start thinking. If if I give you information on a sugar diet or a rice diet and you say, oh, that's really great. I'm going to get rid of my blood pressure problem and I'm going to try it. And let's just say it works. Your blood pressure's gone. You have 120 over 80 now instead of 150 over 90. What are you going to do with that? Are you going to continue the rice diet for the rest of your life so you can keep your blood pressure down? Or are you going to take medications? Or are you going to say, I'll do whatever diet? You see, you have to choose something that is going to be sustainable nutritionally and for you. That's my point. Chat with Lucy says, I will use my own stem cells. I'm going to University, California, San Diego in La Jolla. Okay. Question, do you think glucoferrin would benefit my kidneys? I can only answer this since I'm getting good at saying this. I don't know. I don't know, Lucy. What I do think I know is that glucoferrin won't hurt your kidneys. Do I know if it will benefit your kidneys? I don't know. Not until you take it and we look at your kidneys. Okay. But I can tell you, in my heart, I don't believe it will hurt your kidneys. All right. There are other things that are hurting your kidneys. I do not believe that glucoferrin will be one of them. For those of you who do not know what glucoferrin is, you can go to Metabolism IQ and read all about glucoferrin. You can go to glucoferrin.com and read. I haven't been to the website for quite a while now, so I don't know if they've updated it, but I know that Metabolism IQ has been in the process of updating their website on a regular basis in descriptions of what glucoferrin is and what it does for you. So with that being said, you can look into that. Metabolism IQ. Chat with Lucy says, what is the status of no longer bamboozled merchandise? It is still in the early, I haven't, Lucy, you came on late. And so I have not decided to make a choice on that. And so since making a decision is instantaneously, I have elected to put it on the back burner because I feel like there is something else that maybe needs to come forward. And if you go back to the very beginning, Lucy, I had this wonderful idea. Yesterday, I brought on to the show. So usually I bring on to the show my Tucker. Tucker, as many of you know, my Tucker passed away in February. I was heartbroken. I still am heartbroken, but he is my co-host from heaven. Yesterday, I brought on Timber, Lucy, and Timber is going through some stage right now where he hurt his back, and he's been hurt since the beginning of September. And I've been doing some things in hopes that he will get better. And one listener, a center stager, suggested that if I was not wearing my Michigan hoodie and was wearing a Georgia Bulldog hoodie instead, Timber would get better. And I took that idea and ran with it. So if I do wear the Georgia hoodie and Timber does get better, my idea is maybe you guys would want to join in on my idea and send me something that you would like me to wear on my reels or on my live streams, acknowledge you or not acknowledge you, depending on what you want me to do. I could do it anonymously, and I would make it known that, hey, this I am wearing not on my own conscience. It was sent to me, and I promised I would wear this. Now, please be reasonable, okay? Be reasonable, all right? But yeah, I thought it would be a fun idea because a lot of people, one, don't like giving money because they think it might, it's just, oh, you're just another one of those. Okay, well, let's make it fun. And we'll make it fun. And the idea is if you send me something, I'll wear it. And it reminded me, and this could be dating me, I don't even remember the name. Do you remember the white-haired guy that had this sitcom? It was a 30-minute sitcom, and for me, it was in the morning, and it might have been around the time when Too Close for Comfort was on. He was a white-haired guy, and I believe he was an artist, or he was a cartoonist. And he had 2 daughters, and I think they lived with this guy. So it was like a Too Close for Comfort, but it wasn't Too Close for Comfort. It wasn't the blonde. I believe it was his 2 daughters. Okay. Guys, help me out here. If you remember the show I'm trying to talk about here. But anyway, if you recall, he wore in every one of his episodes a different college. Remember that? Do you guys remember that? Or am I just, I'm trying to remember. Anyway, that is my idea. It might be a dumb idea. You might think that I'm the only one getting anything out of it. And maybe that's true. You're changing my wardrobe. But if you're like me, there's something about being acknowledged. There's something about giving gifts and seeing a smile on people's faces or seeing happiness, even if it's in a joking way, like, I know Dr. Jensen cannot stand blah, blah, blah. I'm going to send her this and make her wear it in public. Because I know she has said on previous things that she cannot stand that team. Okay? And so, nope, not different strokes. It's not different strokes. He had white hair. His name, Ted, is it Ted Danson? No, that's Ted. That's Shears. Ted. Isn't that his name? Melanie, help me out. Not different strokes. It was a morning sitcom. He was a cartoonist, I believe. He sat at his desk, and people would enter into his house, sometimes not even knocking. You guys. Anyway, it just reminded me of that sitcom. And I used to always want to have all of those colleges. I just couldn't believe. And back in the day, there was no computers. So I didn't even know I didn't know where most of those colleges were. I was a little kid, but I found it interesting to, I don't know. Okay, so that was my idea. So, all right. Carbs. Hey, no bark. It's always the girls. Do we need carbs for performance? We'll end on this one. Ted Knight. Yes. Diego. That is it. What is the name of the show? He was Ted on Mary Tyler Moore. Yes. Okay. Yes. I can't remember his name. I can't remember the show. My goodness. All right. You guys got me way off kilter, and I don't even know if I can go on with how. Oh my goodness. Anyway, you guys, we've probably exhausted what we're going to be learning today. I'm not even sure that we got to everything, but I think as a review, I talked today a little bit about the difference between a sugar diet and a rice diet, and how it could help us with temporarily improving our chronic diseases, whether it be hypertension or kidney disease or lung disease or whatever. I don't, in my heart, believe that these temporary fixes is something that we can. No, Lucy, it wasn't the Ted Knight show. It definitely was not. And I just don't know if it was Too Close for Comfort, because that Too Close for Comfort is with, wasn't it with Ritter? It's different. It's not Too Close for Comfort. Then what is the show with the Don Knotts and the Ritter guy? It is Too Close for Comfort. Okay. All right, you guys. I stand corrected. I do stand corrected. I appreciate you guys helping me. Was he the guy that he was the cartoonist and he had all the sweatshirts? Help me out. We also talked about doing things and making change. I gave you an example is if you asked me if I could play the piano and I said, I don't know. I don't know until I try. When we make a choice, Three's Company, you're right. You guys are so right. Okay, got it. You're right. I was right. It is Too Close for Comfort. And it was Three's Company. Okay. Woo. I'm not going crazy. I kind of was, but now I'm not. All right. Too Close for Comfort. That's what I was watching when I was a little kid. I don't know how old I was. I don't know. I know I was in grade school I was in grade school. Okay. So, you guys, I'm sure that people going back and listen, they're going to turn me off. They're going to turn me off and say, who is this chick? Is this really something where I can learn? But you guys got to know, some of these live streams are just, I don't know. I'm just shooting from the hip. I really want to help you guys get better. I want to help you improve your health. I think there's a lot of things that we've been told that is wrong, and we need to make changes in our life. And when we make a change, we have to do it and do it right. We have to commit. With the moment you say, I'm done living this way, the moment that change occurs, it takes place instantaneously, and it's the moment you choose a new path. The results may take time, the growth may take time, but that decision is instantaneously. The choice is instantaneously. But I think the problem arises is the person never makes the choice. They never decide. They wish, they hope, they try. Remember going back to that try, Pastel says, I'll try to do different. Those are not really making a choice. And so if you truly want to change is instantaneously. The minute you say, I'm done living this way. I'm done living in despair. I'm done living obese. I'm done living depressed. State it and be done. Sometimes you have to get angry. Like the farmer actually would walk all the way back 2 miles just to get a pack of cigarettes. And he said, this is stupid. He got mad at himself. This is stupid. If you want ice cream and you would travel 10 miles to go get ice cream. That's at some point you have to say, that's dumb. I'm not going to do that anymore. I choose not to live this way. You're living in bondage. You're in bondage to your carbs. You're in bondage to your cigarettes or your alcohol or your exercise or lack thereof. You're in bondage to something. You have to say instantaneously, make a change. I don't want to live this way. Done. You've made that choice. It's a choice. You don't say, oh, I hope, or I wish, or I'll try. Then you're going to be like that one patient that for 27 years saying, Dr. Jensen, it's just baby steps, okay? Just baby steps. You didn't make the choice. Well, I hope to. I'll try to. I wish to. Nah. You got to decide, you got to believe, and you got to see it. See it be done. See that you're going to quit smoking. What does that look like? Oh my gosh, it looks like breathing better. Oh my gosh, it looks like me going to exercise. Oh, it means me not smelling and people don't want to get away from me. You got to see the positives. If you look at it, oh, it's going to be despairing and depression and I'm going to gain weight and I'm going to do this and I'm going to go into withdrawal and that sucks. I've seen that. Boy, they get nauseated. They have to lock themselves in a room. They go crazy. No, you're seeing it all wrong. You're seeing it from a wrong perspective. You have to see that you breathe better, you exercise better, you smell better. People want to be around you. They congratulate you. They're actually saying, patting you on the back and want to be around you. You're a success story to them. They want to be like you. That's positive. You've just changed their life. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. You changed their life. By you changing your life, you changed their life. How amazing is that? How amazing. You know, I was talking to one of my friends this morning, and we did the deep question on text. How do you know when you're happy? What makes you happy? And he said to me, he sent me a video first. And if you were to know this guy, the videos are always from the same person. So he respects this certain individual, and everything that he wants to teach people, it's based on something he's learned from this particular. I'm not going to mention the particular person, okay? Because I don't even. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So he said that what makes him happy is having responsibilities. Having responsibility to be a husband, a father, to take care of his house, to mow his lawn, to do whatever. Okay, he based his happiness on responsibility. And then he said, well, what about you? And I thought, and as he was saying this, I was wondering, God, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? What makes me happy? I don't even know. I don't know. But what makes me happy is actually being, and this kind of goes with the responsibility, because you have some purpose. And I think you guys will see this. What makes me happy is to see, this is maybe not the right way of saying this, but basically what I'm trying to say is when somebody relies on me, it makes me happy. When somebody says, I've done something and it was because of something you did, you said, you spurred me into it. I would have never known unless you brought that up, right? And so I believe what makes me happy is when people find value in what I am as a person. And so one of the things you guys would know about me, because I've told you that, is on my gravestone, I would want somebody to write, I can see Jesus in her, right? Or along that parallel is, well done, good and faithful servant. So was Dr. J serving herself, or was Dr. J getting happy because you guys relied on Dr. J to share information, whether it was right or wrong. You shared information with your time, and I benefited from you, and I never told you. One person on YouTube, this is funny and it made me giggle, is the husband had been listening to me, right? And maybe for years listening to me, and would use things I said and repeat it to her, like in a conversation, maybe an argument, maybe not an argument. And then she started perhaps listening to me. And you know how you try to impersonate people? Well, they started impersonating me, badgering back and forth, using my anecdotes or using my logic or my straight to the point way of being. But I found it comical. And even if the things that I taught them were not true, I made an impression on them and it changed their life. And I think that makes me happy. Do I like responsibility? Absolutely. I thrive on that, I think. I like to be responsible for the things because that's what incentivized people do is you mow your lawn and then you look back and you say, oh my gosh, it looks beautiful. You did that. You're responsible for that lawn. Great. So find out what is it that makes you happy. It's not just a word. Is there something like giving a gift? Is there something like going for a walk? Is there something like getting a certain job? How does that make you feel? But what I'd like to get you to think about more so is how is it doing for you, but how is it doing for others? Because when my friend said that when he is responsible and that makes him happy, he sees his family growing. And they're growing. When he takes responsibility, his family is growing in a positive direction. His house is growing in a positive direction. His yard is growing in a positive direction. By him having responsibilities, everything around him is being affected in a positive way. And are we doing that? Like, because I had to turn off YouTube, that was not being in a positive manner. That was in a negative manner. And so I'm going to remove that toxin, okay? And I'm going to concentrate on people that want to make a positive impact on someone else, and it's going to be a reflection of themselves, and they're going to actually find value. And so my question back to him was, so what you're telling me is that if I share something with a patient and they don't find value in it like I find value in it, does that mean I'm unhappy? Deep question, right? How does that make Dr. J feel when she shares something that she knows is good for you and you, the patient, do not find value in it? Then what do I do with that? Does that make me happy, unhappy, indifferent? And those are the things that we need to, that's trying to control our environment, right? And so then we go even deeper. And so this conversation is kind of ongoing, and I'm interested to see where we're actually going with this. But yeah, my friend, he's amazing, and he helps me think through a lot of things. But he's very impersonal at times, and I need to just like drag it out of him. So I said, these are really good points, but could you give me an example? One, how it relates to you, and two, how it relates to me. Great questions, right? All right. Okay. We're going to end this. Lord willing, I will be back next Saturday, 9 a.m. Central, next Sunday, 10 a.m. Central. I have some things in my head how I'm going to plan my reels for the week. I've got some ideas on what reels I'm going to talk about. But if you have ideas that you want me to talk about for my reels, just short ones, 60 seconds, 90 seconds. How about less than 3 minutes? Give me some topics that you might want me to talk about on a reel. If you want to consider the game or the idea of me representing you, and find joy and a giggle out of me wearing something that you have given me, and maybe if you don't want to be anonymous, as I mention your name, like I mentioned Chat with Lucy, and I say that this came in the mail, and then we tell this story, because obviously you guys are going to share a story with me when you send me something, and you say, oh my gosh, you're going to have to wear this because, well, this is blah, 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 and you tell me your whole life. You tell me the story behind this, why you're doing this, okay? And so I can share that. I can share it anonymously, and I could say, oh, this came from Chat with Lucy. You know Chat with Lucy, right? My California friend. So it might be a crazy idea. You guys don't have to take part. I don't, it just came up. And so, yes, Lord willing, I will be back next week. We didn't even talk about labs except for a little bit with Sean, but that is something I truly enjoy doing. I love going over labs with people and giving my insight, because I know this. Doctors do not go in depth. They actually have their nurses or whoever call them up and say, everything looks great. I'll see you next year. I'll see you in 6 months. Stay on the medicine. Do the thing. Try to exercise. Doctor says try to exercise. Try. There's that word again. Try. They didn't give anything like, hey, I want you to only eat 20 grams of carbs. I want you to lift weights for 60 minutes, 3 days a week, and I want you to hit every body part. Nothing like that. And so the same thing goes with our labs. Oh, everything looks great. You fall into the reference range. The reference range. Yep, you fall in. You're good. Stay on your medicine. Keep doing what you're doing. But I'm getting sick, doctor. Nurse, I'm getting sick. Well, why don't you talk to the doctor when you see him or her again in 6 months to a year? That's why I do what I do. That's why I'm trying. That word. No, I am. I have made it a choice of mine instantaneously. I want to get smarter at reading labs. I want to know the intricacies of our labs. And so I might ask you to get more labs because I need more information. But I love to do that. I want to go over your labs with you if you choose to hire me to go over your labs with you. Got it? You can consult with me. You can email me at IronLadyDoc@AOL.com. All right? So we will call it quits today. Sorry, YouTubers who had to sustain the comments over there by individuals that actually had nothing really important to say. And so I had to turn off YouTube. And so some of you, I hope, came over to Instagram and got the full benefit of learning. And the YouTubers will just have to watch the recorded version. So anyway, I will see you guys.